Take a good look at me. Don't look away. I know it's uncomfortable to stare into the eyes of a dead man, but you need to see this. My name is Arthur. Last Tuesday, at 3:04 in the morning, my heart finally stopped beating. I was 82 years old. If you could stand in the cemetery right now and look down at my fresh grave, you'd see the words they carved into the cold granite under my name. It says, "A gentle soul." Everyone at my funeral, my estranged wife, my former colleagues, the neighbors I waved to for 30 years, they all said the same thing as they threw dirt onto my casket. They wiped their eyes and said, "Arthur? Oh, Arthur was a saint. He was so nice." Nice. That word wasn't a compliment. It was the epitaph of a wasted life. It was the curse that ruined my existence. And I'm speaking to you now, from the dark, to tell you that if you are currently swallowing your words, apologizing for taking up space, and smiling when you want to scream, you are doing exactly what I did. You are digging your own grave, one polite nod at a time. You think you are being virtuous. You think you are being moral. But I am here to tell you the truth that no one else will tell you while you are still alive. Being nice is not a virtue. It is a disease, and it is terminal. Psychologists have fancy terms for it now. They call it fawning. They call it people-pleasing. They call it a trauma response. I just called it being a good man. That was the lie I told myself every morning in the mirror for 60 years, while I shaved a face I grew to despise. I believed that if I made myself small, the world would treat me gently. I believed that if I never caused a problem, I would eventually be rewarded with love. I thought human connection was a transaction. I give you total compliance, and in return, you give me safety. But I wasn't nice because I loved people. I want you to really hear this part. I was not nice because I was full of love. I was nice because I was terrified. I was too cowardly to show the world who I really was. I traded my authenticity for security. I repressed my shadow, my anger, my desires, and my opinions, thinking that if I cut off all my sharp edges, no one would ever hurt me. And the tragedy? It didn't work. It backfired in the most painful way imaginable. If you feel a knot in your stomach every time you want to say no, if you replay conversations in your head wondering if you offended someone, listen closely. I am going to tell you the story of how I wasted my life so you don't have to waste yours. It started in my 20s. I was hungry then. I was working at a top marketing firm in the city. I was smarter than half the men in that room. I had ideas that could have changed the company. But I had a secret rule book in my head that I followed religiously. Rule number 1, never inconvenience anyone. Rule number 2, if I do everything they ask, they will have to love me. We call this a covert contract. This is the deadliest trap of the nice guy. I made deals with people in my head, but I never told them about the deal. I remember my boss, Mr. Henderson, a loud, brash man who took up all the oxygen in the room. He would dump his work on my desk at 5 p.m. on a Friday so he could go play golf. And what did I do? Did I say, "I have plans, Mr. Henderson"? Did I say, "This is your responsibility"? No, I said, "Of course, sir. Happy to help." I smiled, the nice guy smile. But under the desk, my hand was clenched into a fist so tight my fingernails cut into my palm. I was bleeding, quite literally, from my own repression. I was furious, but I stuffed that anger down into the pit of my stomach. I thought, one day, he'll see how hard I work. One day he'll promote me out of pure gratitude because I am so loyal. I waited 5 years for that day. It never came. Instead, I watched men who were louder, lazier, and less talented climb right over me. They didn't ask for permission. They negotiated. They argued. They were disagreeable. And me? I became the office furniture, reliable, stationary, and completely invisible. When I finally asked for a raise 5 years too late, Henderson looked at me with genuine confusion. He said, "Arthur, I thought you were happy where you were. You never complained." He didn't respect me. You cannot respect a man who has no boundaries. I wasn't a valued employee. I was a doormat. And doormats don't get promoted. They get stepped on. The rot didn't stop at the office door, if only it had. But the nice guy virus followed me home to Sarah. Sarah was the love of my life. She was vibrant, fiery, full of life. And I watched the light go out in her eyes year by year because I refused to be a real man for her. Whatever you want, honey. You're right. I'm sorry. Let's not fight. That was my mantra. I thought I was being the perfect husband. I thought women wanted a man who was agreeable, soft, and accommodating. I thought if I never argued with her, she would feel safe. I was wrong. You see, you cannot trust a man who cannot say no. If I couldn't say no to her, my yes meant absolutely nothing. She realized I wasn't agreeing with her because I respected her logic. I was agreeing because I was terrified of her disapproval. I was managing her emotions to keep myself safe. It killed the polarity between us. A woman cannot desire a man she can manipulate. She told me once, over a quiet dinner that felt like a funeral, "Arthur, I feel like I'm living alone. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you hate. You're just a mirror reflecting me back at myself." She begged me to get angry. She begged me to take a stand. But I just apologized for upsetting her. She didn't leave me. That would have been too dramatic. Instead, she just withdrew. She stopped sharing her heart. She stopped touching me. By the time I was 50, we were just roommates passing in the hallway, two ghosts haunting the same house. I had niced my marriage to death. I bored her into indifference. But the worst part, the part that haunts me even now in the dark, is what I did to my son, Thomas. You see, we pass our trauma down like a family heirloom. Thomas was a sensitive boy. When he was 7, he came home from school crying. A bully had pushed him down and stolen his lunch money. He looked at me, his father, for guidance. He needed to know how to stand his ground. He needed permission to defend himself. And what did I tell him? The same poison I fed myself. I knelt down, wiped his face, and said, "Just ignore him, Thomas. Be the bigger man. If you're nice to him, eventually he'll be your friend. Violence never solves anything." I taught my son to be a victim. I stripped him of his teeth. I watched Thomas grow up into a man just like me, anxious, apologetic, terrified of conflict. I watched him get walked over in his first job. I watched him get his heart broken by women who didn't respect him. I saw the confusion in his eyes, the same confusion I had. He did everything right. He was nice. So why was the world crushing him? I wanted to shake him. I wanted to grab him by the shoulders and scream, "Fight back! Don't be like me!" But I couldn't, because I was the one who had tied his hands behind his back. I didn't raise a good man. I raised a harmless man. And a harmless man is not a good man. A harmless man is just weak. The end comes faster than you think. You blink, and you are 80. I remember my retirement party, 40 years at the firm. I stood there holding a cheap plastic plaque and a piece of stale sheet cake. My boss, a kid young enough to be my grandson, raised a glass to toast me. He said, "To Arthur, you could always count on him. He was steady, a really nice guy. He never caused any trouble." Never caused any trouble. That was my legacy. That was the sum total of my existence. I was a frictionless man. I left no mark on the world. I had no enemies, but I had no true friends either. In that moment, standing under the fluorescent lights, I wanted to flip the table. I wanted to scream about the ideas I buried, the passions I suffocated, and the fire I poured water on every single day to keep everyone else comfortable. I wanted to roar, but I didn't. I just smiled, the same polite smile I had worn for 60 years, shook his hand, and walked out into oblivion. I went home, sat in my favorite chair, and waited to die. And even death felt like just another thing I had to accept quietly. I am dead. It is too late for me. The dirt is already over my head. But you? You are still breathing. You still have time to burn the mask. Don't let my story be your story. You need to understand the difference between being nice and being kind. Nice is selfish. It's about manipulating people so they don't hurt you. It is fear dressed up as virtue. Kindness is telling the truth, even when it hurts. Kindness is setting a boundary. Kindness is having the capacity for danger, but choosing to control it. Here is my command from the other side. Stop agreeing when you disagree. Stop giving to get. Stop waiting for permission to exist. If you are angry, be angry. If you want something, ask for it. If someone crosses a line, show them your teeth. They say rest in peace. I say to hell with peace. Don't live in peace. Live in truth. Live with friction. Live with fire. My time is up. Yours is just beginning. Don't be a nice guy. Be a real man.